Hola, mi amigos. So I know we just came off of Easter, and yet we're not quite done with the Easter story. I wanted to look at it one more time. I wanted to consider one more piece of it, particularly the death of Jesus and the reaction of the community around him. The role of the Jewish community, the community that Jesus came from, that he came out of, that he was a part of, was to reject and denounce him, to move away from him, to condemn him, essentially, to have no part of him. These people, they knew him. They understood him. He had performed healings. He had performed miracles in their communities. He had done all of these things. And yet, his teachings had caused thousands to gather to him. At one point, it said that he fed 5,000 people who had come to hear him speak. And performed a miracle in that moment alone because he fed them with just a few pieces of fish and some loaves, and it stretched and stretched and stretched and stretched. It just grew until it fed all of them. A week before he died, Jesus enters the city in the book of Matthew, chapter 21. And the people in the streets, fulfilling prophecy from the Old Testament, cry out, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna. They lay down palm branches, and he rides into the city like a conquering king almost. Hosanna means blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And the people of Jerusalem, the Jewish community, is cheering, Hosanna, Hosanna. A week later, the same community is preparing to crucify Jesus. They whip him, they beat him, and they pierce his hands and his feet, and he dies a slow and painful death hanging on a cross before he's finally allowed to die before the Sabbath as a Roman soldier pierces his side with a spear. The people who had welcomed him as though a conquering king now looked at him as a criminal. Crucifixion was the worst form of capital punishment available in the Roman Empire, and it largely meant that you were the worst of the worst, the lowest of the low. The way the story goes, they're given a choice between a murderer, a mass murderer, someone who had committed outlandish crimes against both people and the state, a bandit, a robber, a criminal, a murderer, and Jesus of Nazareth. And they cried, give us Barabbas, give us Barabbas, let us have Barabbas. Crucify Jesus. They were asked, what would you have me do with this man, the King of the Jews? And they cry out, crucify him, crucify him. These are the same peoples who a week earlier had cried, Hosanna, Hosanna. My point is, Jesus experienced suffering and rejection. No one in life is going to not feel hurt, pain, rejection, or to feel unwanted by someone. I'm sure if you ask any adult in your life who's being honest, they would tell you, well, I can recall this person who I feel was rejected me or turned against me, or I feel like they betrayed me, or yada, 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 yada. Everyone's got their life story. Everyone's got this moment. So stop making it like it's the end of the bloody world. It's not. Really. Stop being so fragile as to say, I can't stand it if not everyone likes me. How a person lives with pain of being rejected and determines who they become. You can become a person who can't handle it and who will make yourself into whatever you need to make yourself into, to whatever type of person you need to make yourself into, to associate with whoever you want to associate with. Or you can be okay with being who you are. How did Jesus respond to vitriol hatred? He said, while on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them. Gals and guys, ladies and gents, you do not need everyone to like you. Stop trying. It's not going to happen. Stop trying to act in such a way as to make everyone in the room like you. Stop. Not being okay with, well, I've got these people who like me for me, but I'm going to ditch them and go hang out with these people because they are who I want to be around. Nah, that's trash, man. Don't do that. Experiencing rejection is going to happen. How you deal with it is up to you. You can deal with it in such a way as to try to make sure you're never rejected, you never experience that feeling ever again, or you go, yeah, it's okay. I knew someone once who was adopted. His whole life, he felt like he wasn't good enough. Even to his dying breath, in old age. He never felt quite good enough for anything. And that's a shame. Because that became the defining feature of who he was. And you're all better than that. Every one of you. Rejection happens. Pain hurts. How you move on is important. And I just wanted to remind you that rejection even happened to Jesus. So if he's going to experience it, I'm sure we're going to experience it. So how we choose to experience it determines a lot. You can be upset, frustrated, but pick yourself up, move on, and say, they're missing out. Call this a theological morals lesson and a life lesson. And I think is worth saying one last time. Not everyone needs to like you. Stop trying. If someone doesn't want to hang around with you, so what? It's not going to be the end of the world. If someone doesn't want to date you anymore, it's not going to be the end of the world. Not everyone needs to like you. See you guys.